Welcome to Mobile Armor Radio, the podcast for all things Mecha. Jumpship incoming.
Hello, sports fans. I don't know. That's one way to start a show. Welcome to Mobile Armor Radio.
It's one way to start a show.
Episode 69 of the list as it goes, and I am one of your hosts, Brian.
I'm Chopper.
I'm Rob.
And yeah, so I don't know why I started with sports fans. Not sure how many sports fans we have listening.
There's no more sports,
and there is no sports on right now. It's like the worst time
just
for sports.
hockey, but it's the beginning of the season of hockey, so it's kind of boring.
It's not the beginning of the season. Hockey's almost over.
Is it almost over?
So it's over halfway.
Yeah. Well,
Pat doesn't like hockey.
I do like hockey, but the thing is, I don't really get into hockey till the All-Star game.
The All-Star game's already happened. That was
Jesus Christ,
last week.
Where have I been?
So it's
the whole Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce thing really threw me off.
It's topical, like, for an idea I had later, but I was thinking about it as like there need to be more sports mecha things going on.
For sure.
More sci-fi sports shows in general, because it is a rather untapped media, like rollerball, like, you know,
Well,
what else you got?
Don't put it out there in the zeitgeist for someone to steal your idea.
Well, they had
That's the terriblest idea I've ever heard in my life. That's whoever does that will be the dumbest person alive.
I'm inherently lazy. I want other people
Yeah,
to do the work for me.
you don't want to do it yourself.
Yeah.
There was that robot movie with Hugh Jackman.
Robot jocks.
Real
Or not
Steel.
robot jocks.
Real Steel.
Real Steel. Yeah. I never saw it.
It's
Anyways.
not bad.
This is a
But
lot.
anyway,
It's not bad for
answer
11
for
o'clock
now.
at night on Cinemax.
It's time to get into the thick of it. So we are going to head on over to the Dropship and talk about what we're working on.
That was the longest Brian could go. He couldn't keep this going any
I
longer.
couldn't go any longer.
I think inherently he started to get an itch. He started getting a rash because he was talking so long in the intro.
It's like, I got to get out of this. Pat's starting to talk about things, and I guess we'll be back.
Dropship landing.
And welcome back to the Dropship. This is the section of the show where we talk about the stuff that we're working on, and I'm going to throw it over to Pat. Have you been doing any fun hobby things?
Not
nothing you can talk about.
Yeah, I'm on a severe NDA that I can't talk about right now. So really been working on a lot of that. But other than that, I did get my little Robotech Revell model.
Nice.
You haven't put it together yet, though.
I haven't put it together yet, but
But he's got it. That's half the
I got
battle.
it. It's gonna. I look at it. It's very nostalgic for me.
Is it like the old ones with no pegs or anything? It's
So
like...
I just sent that to you, Rob.
Oh,
Tell me
now...
what model what robot that is.
Oh, no. Now I got to open up a page.
Robotech Defenders.
See, like, I don't think these are real Robotech models.
No, I think it was... We decided it was when
how many gold was thrown out?
Before...
Yeah,
it was before Robotech. They had the name, and they were just bringing over stuff.
But is that a Shadowhawk, though?
Let me look. I'm getting there. You threw a wrench into the whole system. I had to open Facebook again, and
You can just leave it open anyways. While he's doing that, so I got that.
there it is. It is a Shadowhawk. That is a Shadowhawk.
Yeah, I thought it was a Shadowhawk.
Which is
it's a Zoltec.
Well,
it's what anime was that from? Was that from Dougram? I can't remember. Yes, I think it was.
Then because I am now working on the top secret project, I've been again, still continuing with the Neo-Zhang, but as I do other paint jobs, the Neo-Zhang gets more paint on it.
Just because you're down there and you just throw some on extra?
Yeah, well, like I finish something and wait for it to dry. I'll just tilt my chair and then let that dry, and then it's a process when you paint it, when you're painting from scratch. I wish I
hadn't started.
Well, no, I wish I didn't have the drive to have to do it this way. I wish I could just snap it together and leave it alone. And I can't.
That's
can't
my way.
That.
I don't even put the stickers on.
Yeah, that makes me skin itch a little bit.
Or the decals, as they say.
Yeah,
the decals.
I wish I could not be this way, but I am, and so the model suffers because of it. It just takes a long time.
The model doesn't suffer; it's just the finishing of the project suffers.
Yes. Anything else I worked on? Not too much though, because again, like the Top Secret project and Adepticon's coming close, so those take up a lot of my time in this beginning of the year. So, the Zoltec model should be really easy to get to though, and the way it looks like it's just all chrome. So,
yeah, well, you can do what you want. I think it's
and it's a Rebel It's a Rebel model. Those are not complicated kits to begin with.
No, well, the problem is if it's an old one, it doesn't have the pegs and stuff, so it's actually harder than the new ones.
That's might be true. Yeah,
it's just planes on planes you're gluing together.
Yeah.
I had some old Cyclones that were like that, and they were interesting.
I do think the Rebel models do have the pegs though, so we'll be all right. But whether or not they match up nicely, I might have to fill some cracks.
That's another thing. Back in the day, the quality control. Plus, it's really old. It might have warped. Like if it was near any heat or anything. So got to be careful of that stuff. Fun.
All right, that's all I got.
How about you, Rob? What have you been working on?
Actually, I've been painting things. I actually painted things, people.
Oh yeah.
I'm only partially in, but once again, there was a secret project that I started painting, so then I got into the itch of painting. So now I'm painting Battletech miniatures. I'm doing the Wolf's Dragoons Command Lance, because I'm going to do all the Wolf's Dragoons Alpha Regiment at some point, and that's a lot of mechs. But I'm starting here, so it's not finished yet. But there's the first a bit of it. That's one of them. There's a bunch of.
Waist.
I have I even have because it's the old school. It's got some lambs in it because it's from the. I'm using the list from the Wolf's Dragoons FASA book from 1982. No, it's like not 86 probably. It's 87. And so I got a bunch of miniatures, and I've been painting them. So I've been doing that. Once they're complete, I'm sure I'll post them up. But it's been a long time since I've actually painted. So, here's my. Do you want to see my exhaust from my jump jets? But so finally, it's good to get. I don't know why. It's one of those things where you stop doing it, and then you don't know why you didn't just keep doing it. So I'm glad I got back into it. Pat forced me, and now I'll paint some more. So we are trying to do more hobby things because Pat's got stuff to do before Adepticon, so it's coming up quick. It's the end of this month, so
yep.
I'm sure we'll talk about that more in ComStar maybe.
Yeah.
Probably.
We should try and find the night where we can try and get in that grinder game.
Yeah, the Battletech grinder.
I got one of my miniatures ground up. Oh, not that one. The other one. Yeah.
Yeah, the other one, the one where you get the mini.
Yeah. That's. You'll never be able to do it. You're stuck in the booth all day, every day. So.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Brian, have you been working on anything other than Adepticon stuff?
Kind of Adepticon stuff actually. I've been. Not necessarily because I need more Dead Zone terrain, but I just
because I want more.
Have more Dead Zone terrain.
I need more Dead Zone.
I printed off a whole bunch of the latest from Corvus Games terrain, the Magna Fortuna Kickstarter. So a lot of like the infected buildings and stuff like that. Some of the rocks and formations and things. And then, of course, my printer decided I'm going to stop. So got to figure that out. But but yeah, so getting that. There's a couple nice days out, so I went and spray painted as much as I possibly could to prime things, so I could work on painting them the rest of the way. And yeah, and so we'll have to see if I actually have enough for it and a third board of just Corvus Games stuff that I'm planning to bring to Adepticon. But if not, it's a nice little supplement we can add to other things to fill out another board. So it is another one of those things where I do too kind of struggle. For those of you that are new to the show, I probably do the least hobby. Or have the least
I don't know. It's a competition now at times.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm looking forward to doing a bit more painting on that front. I've been doing minis for a while and just one off like D&D kind of figures. So something a little bit more consistent would be good. I did paint up a whole mess of item crates because I was crazy and said Dead Zone at Adepticon is going to have items, and rather than using tokens, because we lost them last year, they were in a random box, and I got a lot of flack for that. It's like, why didn't you provide items? Well, we didn't know they were there. But now I've got little baggies of a preset.
That's why you should never use items in Dead Zone. That's the answer. The true answer. Never use items.
No, it's all good. So, but yeah, other than that, haven't done as many other things. So that's kind of been the big push.
Yeah, it's a busy time of year for getting ready for Adepticon. So well, that's our excuse now. Like before, our excuse was cold or.
It's one of those seasonal excuses. It's like, January. It's like, I just come back from the holidays. I can't do anything. February. It's just cold. I don't really feel like I can't go outside to prime things. Oh, March. Well, it's too close to Adepticon.
Yeah, we have an excuse for every month. So.
Yeah. So, but with that, no more excuses. Let's move on to the ComStar.
Message from ComStar.
Welcome back to ComStar. During the break, Pat realized
breaking news.
Breaking news.
Pat,
that Rob was correct.
Rob was correct.
That's the important part. That's why I want to hear. I want to hear you both say it.
Rob was correct, and it is the Shadowhawk from Battletech, or the Dougram from Dougram.
And Zoltek is just the name they randomly chose to represent that for some reason.
Because it's a Rebel kit.
And that there's a random comic inside from DC Comics.
Yeah, apparently there was a DC comic inside him.
Who knew?
Who knew? I still... maybe it was like He-Man, the mini comics.
But, well, Rob, since you were correct, why don't you start us off on this next segment here?
It is ComStar.
So, it is ComStar. So it's the section of the show where we talk about kind of movies, books, media of all kinds that we're enjoying at the time or interested in, some of the news that we've got coming up. So, yeah, Rob, you can take it away.
Well, first of all, I want to give a shout out to my buddy Jack. He gave me a late Christmas gift, and it's my.
Aww.
It's a mug.
Nice.
It's a mug.
A mug.
I don't know. I might poke my eye out though, drinking out of it. I'm a little scared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's very
only
cool.
new type use it.
It's a very cool mug. So I'm excited to poke my eye out with that. So if you see with the eye patch, you'll know what happened. Other than that, what am I doing? New comic book I've been reading. It's called Petrolhead. It's from DC Comics. It's by Rob Williams and Piper is the artist. Image Comics, I think I said that. I think it's up to issue 4 now. It's speaking of sports, this is robots who were in racers who'd race around the city and destroy themselves, and it was like a thing to kind of mollify the masses. But then this is like 20 years later, and then the racers are all retired. So it's old Petrolhead, that's the name of them, but he never got a name. They just called him Petrolhead, so that's what he is. He was kind of a generic name for him. He's was just working on an illegal car because you're not allowed to have combustion engines anymore. So he was working on a legal car when a human girl and her father kind of fall into his shop, and hilarity ensues as they're wanted by the whole city. So it's like a chase, and it's pretty fun so far. And he's a big robot who is chomping on a cigar at all times. I guess it's a cyber cigar maybe, but it's him and the girl running from the bad guys pretty much. Who the city's controlled by the Big O. I don't know if he's the Big O. I think he's just the O.
The Big O.
He's just Big O, as in from the show Big O.
No, he's just. I think it's just the O. So that's why I say Big O, because that reminds me of that anime. But anyways, it's fun times. It's pretty irreverent. It's pretty fun. Little fun. Lots of robot destruction. Like all the robots have AI, so they all have personalities, which is fun. And even the like little drones that are chasing them, shooting at them, or like they'll just go off and like they're like, you're supposed to take him alive. He's like, yeah, I know, I lost control. He starts firing missiles at him. It's pretty funny. It's So if you get a chance, pick it up from Image Comics. Fun times. Other than that, for some reason I've been watching a ton of Halo. So I watched the first season of the Halo TV show. I'm waiting for the second season to finish before I finish that one. But then I download all the movies and other things. So there's like quite a few animated movies. There's a few live action movies.
Yep.
And they're generally pretty
Halo
good.
Legends and
Legends the anime one? I think Legends was the
anthology one.
Yeah, it's like Animatrix, by the same idea as Animatrix, where it was
good.
just short stories in the Halo universe. It was fun. And there was one called Nightfall, I believe. That was live action. I don't think there was any Spartans in that one. Oh, there's like a retired Spartan, but they were on a part of the Halo, and they have to do like a get out of there alive kind of thing. It's kind of fun. Follow Reach was I think that was an animated one. Or was it? I can't remember. They all blend together now.
Yeah, but I don't know if I've seen that one, but
it was alright. It's just a bunch of kids in a training thing, and they don't know. They've never, like, Spartans are like super secret, so there was all these rumors about these super soldiers, and then all of a sudden the Covenant, they attack them, and then Master Chief shows up, and they're all like, "What the hell is that?" So, Master Chief doing some craziness. There's quite a few, because a lot of them there's a lot of short ones that they did before the new game comes out. They usually had like a little short movie that they put out for the whatever new game it was. So but a lot of Halo stuff, and I'm enjoying the Halo TV show. I'm sure we'll talk about that I think later, but
a little bit.
Generally there is mechs in it. There's giant Covenant definitely have some mech like things, so I consider that acceptable. Oh, and one of the Legends ones actually was one of the Halo guys was in a mech that was like a prototype. I think it was called Prototype, that episode.
I think that was, yeah.
And it was it didn't work very well. And anyways, I won't spoil what happened, but
they're shorts. You can get through them quick.
Yeah. I hadn't played Halo since maybe the first and second ones. I don't think I ever played after that. So it's fun getting into the world again and remembering the little guys who run around and you shoot them and they scream. I love those little guys.
The grunts.
The grunts, yeah. And Cortana just talking in your ear all the time, and you're like, "Shut up!"
Always yelling at you.
Was Cortana part of the original Halo, or did she show up like their own?
Yep.
Nope.
Yeah, she was there from the beginning.
Right from the beginning.
It's been such a long time since I played Halo 1 that I can't even remember.
I think she has the second line in the campaign, like in the main story.
Well, it's not like Master Chief talks much, so.
Yeah.
But
Cortana has way more lines than she.
But yeah, fun times. I'm really enjoying it, and that is about it. Other than that, I don't think anything else. No, I don't think I've done anything else or watched anything else. That took up a lot of time.
How about you, Pat? Anything you've been watching, reading, or
not
enjoying?
too much? I did pick up the other day the new TRO for Battletech, the Dark Ages book, and I've been kind of just cruising that on and off. When I'm waiting for something to install, read through it.
Yeah,
it's stuff like that. It's
the reprints they're doing from Catalyst that of all the old TROs, but they're doing them by by time period, which is really useful, I think. No matter what time period you want to play in.
It's a nice little TRO. I like my technical readouts.
Especially that one, because I don't know if they ever did a TRO back in the day for that time, because that was during Clicky Tech.
That's the Clicky Tech. So I don't know if this is, which is one of the reasons I'm kind of actually reading through it a little more closely than I normally would, because I don't know.
Yeah, it's a lot of new stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's a dark age for a reason, right?
It is in name and in content.
But as far as other things, I think that's it. I've again, when I hobby, I don't read. When I don't hobby, I read.
It is kind of a trade-off, isn't it?
I can never do both.
We both watched all of For All Mankind, but there's no mechs in that yet. But maybe if they have a few more seasons, there might be some mechs.
Well, they're only 2012, so we haven't gotten that far yet.
That's right. We got to get into the future on that show.
Of 2012.
Hopefully, that new season happens. I don't think it's been renewed yet. So.
I'm trying to think if I watched any cartoons or anything on YouTube.
On the YouTubes.
That caught my eye. I did watch a couple of clips. Speaking of which, I did watch a couple of clips of Real Steel.
Oh, it's not a bad movie, actually.
I've never seen it. I probably should watch it.
I don't hate it because I didn't pay for it. So I feel like if I spend money, I feel like if I spend money on something and it's horrible,
it is a bit more.
I don't like it. A
boxing movie than it is a mecha movie.
It's coincidentally that they have mechs in it. Yeah,
it's definitely Rocky with robots.
Mm-hmm. And it's a story about a dad.
It's actually I'll make the total analogy. It's Over the Top and Rocky with robots put together.
Over the Top.
Yeah, that's a little closer.
100% over the top.
Sylvester Stallone should have been the character. Should have been Hugh Jackman's character.
Yeah, it's definitely over the top with the father-son connection.
Mm-hmm.
Does the robot turn his hat backwards at some point?
No. But he does fall down a lot, then gets back up, and then everyone shakes their head like they did in Rocky. Like, why can't he just stay down? He's gonna die.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. I haven't done much as far as that's concerned. I think the TRO is as far as I got for reading, because again, just painting.
Yeah.
What movie did you watch? The movie, but I don't think there's mechs in it. What movie did you watch?
I did.
Didn't you? Or maybe you said you were going to watch. What was the new movie that just came? Oh, Aquaman.
Aquaman. Yeah, I was gonna. I didn't get to
watch
it
it.
because
I watched the Marvels. There's no mechs in it.
Keep an eye out there for all.
Yeah. That's our mech content. We have to.
Our new section of the show, Mech Watch.
Mech Watch.
Watching media to see if there's any new mechs in there.
So, all right, since we're doing Mech Watch, so on my Mech Watch, I watched the news, didn't see any mechs.
No, that's it. Oh, that'd be pretty amazing if that happened. What about you, Brian? You doing anything?
Yeah. So I've been, kind of speaking of Halo, I've actually been playing through Halo 2 with my brother on Legendary, and with that, if you've never played Halo 2 on Legendary, it's brutal. It is like mathematically pitched against the player, where enemies shoot twice as fast.
Oh.
And the jackals have sniper rifles, and they can just beam you just around the corner. You're just bam, you're dead. And the other thing that's different about Halo 2 on Legendary than the rest of the games on Legendary is that if one of you dies, you both reset.
Oh.
Yeah. Whereas all the other ones, it's like, oh, one of you died.
You can bring them back.
The other guy go hide out somewhere and they'll respawn. No.
We both go back to the beginning.
Halo 2 is brutal, man.
That's back before they cared about their players. They're just like, screw you guys.
Well, because that was the story that I heard, is that they were right before launch. They were like, well, we need to make the game just a little bit harder. What are we going to do? Well, we're going to tweak this math number just ever so slightly, and then suddenly all the enemies can shoot twice as fast as you can.
That was the story about, I think it was Aliens vs. Predator game. they screwed up the programming for one little thing that the AI and somebody went in and fixed it later, and all of a sudden the game was like great because the aliens actually attacked you. But they screwed it up when they programmed it. That it was just one little thing that they messed one little number up. And it screwed everything up.
It's kind of crazy. And I have also been I've started watching the Halo TV show, and I've got thoughts on it because I do really love the video games and like the lore that exists there. So I'm still trying to come at it with a fresh take, of adaptations, and I think I'll get into that maybe a little bit later in the show. But just wanted to say I am giving it as fair a shake as I can. I would also say a couple of things that are in the news. We did Salvage Union. We did the show last month talking about their game, and I think the day after we recorded or the day after we posted, they had more supplemental content coming out.
Yeah, it was a third party put out a new
almost like we were talking about on the show.
Like a TRO actually. I forgot to mention. Speaking of Salvage Union, I forgot to mention. Look what those guys sent us. Sent us a copy of Salvage Union. I haven't actually opened
nice.
it. Oh, nice. So a hard copy of it.
That's awesome.
It's a nice little book. It's a beautiful quality book. So I'm sure we'll get into playing that some, and we'll talk about it more because it's. I like the world. We talked about it a lot last time. So I forgot I had it because it was like, once again I think it came in the day after we recorded. I was like, nothing's working.
So I wanted to shout out that that community is creating already new and exciting things for that world. So which is awesome to see. I'd also throw out there Mantic's Warpath, which is good. Their Kickstarter is going to be wrapping up the day before this recording airs. So sorry, guys.
We talked about it a lot, though. But
we've talked about it a lot.
And there'll be late pledges, anyways, if you're interested.
Yeah, there'll be late pledges. But I did want to say all of the super vehicles, like the super heavy vehicles and everything like that, are just looking so cool. And the idea that we might be getting those as STL files that we can then blow up to a 28 millimeter scale.
I don't think they'd fit on any, because they're not going to be cut up. They wouldn't fit on any bed.
They wouldn't be cut up, that's for sure.
Maybe on an FDM printer where you can do bigger things.
Someone would have to do some of the work on that front, but
because the scale of them was. They show them next to like some of the larger models that are in the game, and they're like,
it is like that kind of scale. So, they'd be huge. They'd take up half a Dead Zone board easily.
Oh yeah.
Most of them. So, I'm geeked out at the idea of doing that though. I think that would be a hoot.
Or just a whole Dead Zone board on the back of the Forge Father carrier thing.
Oh yeah. The
scale of it is probably pretty close. If not, it's too big to be a Dead Zone board.
Or fighting on top of an Enforcer Dracon class flyer there.
That'd be fun.
So really cool. Like if nothing else, go and see the pictures of the models because they're looking really cool, and it's great to see because obviously we're all pretty big Mantic fans. I think is probably safe to say. And it's really cool to see the universe of that really start expanding, seeing new content of that stuff coming out. And as a last thing, I did want to shout out because the community is kind of huge around it right now, but Helldivers 2 is kind of taking the gaming world by storm right now.
It's a phenomenon.
I must be living in a box because I don't remember Helldivers 1.
It wasn't very. Fun. It's like it was a long time ago, and it wasn't popular.
I played that with my friends back in college, so kind of like 8 years ago at least, maybe.
So it's not like it was. Not more. Yeah, it's not like it's a big IP that it's just for some reason this game caught on and people are loving it.
Well, and I think a big part, like there's a combination of factors people have kind of highlighted. Like I think it's like a $40 game. There's a great aspect of the gaming community is working towards like taking back planets and different sectors in space. So like you and your small group of guys
I
are
guess you'd ask
contributing
what is type of game is it?
Sure.
For FPS?
No.
Yep. Well,
It's not first person.
Either first. Well, I think you can
can
go
you play
first
first?
person
Yeah.
or third person shooter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of third person, that's for sure.
Yeah. And the premise is basically it's like ODST and Halo. Like you are dudes dropping into a planet via big metal coffins, and
Yeah,
then
people are really comparing it to Starship Troopers too. Like
it is a very Starship Troopers experience. Not just because of how you're spreading like super democracy or democracy for
democracy.
Super Earth. Yeah. It's very tongue in cheek with its satire and people kind of buy into it. It's really fun from that perspective. But like the gameplay itself is you're fighting bugs and just different crazy aliens, and then there's also the automatons. So you're run of the mill like Terminators and so on and so forth. And going from small scale ones to big stompy machines and bugs. So it looks like a fantastic experience. I actually did play the original back in the day. It was more of a kind of like a top-down isometric
yeah.
Where you had like 4 players. Same kind of premise, but I don't recall it having that multiplayer aspect where everyone around the world is playing to take over these sectors of space, and you're trying to then protect it as well. So I think that's where a lot of the kind of social media or social aspect of the game is. There's a lot of people encouraging other folks to join the fight so that they can take over these areas. So
it's a pretty good marketing idea too. Like it's got built-in advertising. Like I would never heard of this game before, other than it's all over Twitter. It's all over like anywhere you go, everybody's talking about this game. So
and to my understanding, it's not big on like the microtransactions. They haven't done the multiplayer experience or games as a service to death. They've done it more for the game, and it is funny to hear all the stories coming out now about how like the Halo universe, they pitched games like this because they have these kinds of troopers in the Halo universe, and they got shot down by corporate for one reason or another. And it's like, and then here you have this really incredibly successful game.
Well, it's also, isn't it Sony that does? I think Helldivers is done by Sony, so that's kind of interesting.
They might be published.
Yeah,
it is cross-platform. I forget if the Xbox version is out yet, but it's PC and PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
As of right now.
Xbox is dead. There is no Xbox anymore. There's no point to have an Xbox. An Xbox is just a computer. It's no difference.
So wanted to shout out that game because I think it's a gaming experience that a lot of people enjoy. And
if anybody listening is actually playing, let us know how you like it, and we'll have to check it out. Can you jump into a giant stompy robot? You fight them, but can you pilot one? That's the question.
I don't think you can pilot one. No. I don't think that's part of democracy.
But you just get to kill
real
them.
Democracy doesn't use.
It's powered armor, though. I think
use the weapons of the enemy.
Yeah. Fun.
Anyway, so with that, I think that's a good wrap on the ComStar section. So next up, we'll be coming back for our main topic, the MechBay Hanger, talking about adaptations.
Now entering the MechBay Hanger.
Welcome to the MechBay Hanger. This is the part of the show where we kind of have a roundtable topic that we like to discuss. And like I said before the break there, we're talking adaptations. And so the idea being, there's obviously have been a lot of adaptations throughout the history of mechs and whatnot. So I was figuring if we wanted to share maybe a couple that we really like, maybe some highlight a couple, not too many that we don't like, but maybe aspects of it that we thought maybe could have gone a different way. And then, just touch on a couple that we would look forward to and would be really excited to see come about. So to kind of kick off the discussion, I wanted to throw it out to the Cyberpunk 2077 Edge Runners, the anime that kind of spun off of the video game of the same name. There was a lot of work that happened in the game, but it had a very shaky launch, to be sure. It was kind of rough going off the ground. They had a lot of work to do, and that work happened. But I do think the anime really captured people's imaginations for that world a second time and brought them back into it. Yeah, which I think is an incredible, an accomplishment. Like to really kind of highlight is the success that it raises both properties up in an incredible way.
Well, if you're not to mention the game itself is an adaptation, so
yeah, which is then like there's an adaptation of, oh gosh, what the heck is the Johnny Silverhand, the story of Johnny Silverhand, which was throughout a lot of the cyberpunk books and the tabletop side of things, and a lot of that content is present in the game. You either get to relive some of those experiences, or you deal with the fallout of it afterwards. So that's kind of a fun thing. And then Edge Runners as well, I think showed an experience about that world space and kind of what are those challenges to people that are living in that world where when you're dealing with replacing your body with chrome, and
especially if you're not the main character in a video game, you're just some guy who's trying to live through this world, and it doesn't turn out as nicely.
So wanted to kick it off with that one because I thought it's a great example, a recent example as well of a combination of adaptations kind of coming together. So
that's the beauty of between that whole world, between the role-playing game like Cyberpunk Red into they put out a I think it's not out yet, but there's a source book coming for 2077 for Cyberpunk. Plus there's been tons of comic books. Like they've done a lot in that world. They really put I think if they realized how bad the launch it would be, they wouldn't have done all this, but it was already in the pipeline, so it all happened. And lucky for them, it all happened because it all came back around and it brought it back, so that when Phantom Liberty came out, the expansion for 2077, it was huge. Like they got all their players back, and it was a huge thing for them. But the best thing about 2077 is that all those stories about Johnny Silverhand in the actual Cyberpunk world, he is like a minor character. Like most of the stuff that in that video game, it's Morgan Blackhand did it, and I think it's that the whole point is you're seeing it from Johnny's point of view, and he makes himself the star of this thing, but he wasn't ever the star of it. So it's the best part of it. Like it all fits in the
Classic
world.
Johnny.
So it's kind of fun that they've done that. And now there's even miniature games in Cyberpunk world. Like it's expanded everywhere. So it's that video game kind of brought it around to the because I remember before 2077 launched, we met Mike Pondsmith, the guy who created Cyberpunk. They had like a table at Gen Con, like it was so small, and then once 2770 hit, it became huge. They had like, I think last year they had a whole room full for their stuff. So it's amazing that I think it goes back both ways. Like the attention that video game brought to them too has been huge. So which is nice to see. But
CD Projekt Red are really good at that kind of thing. Like
The Witcher too. That all came back around for TV shows and stuff. And there's supposedly going to be a 2077 TV show too, like a live action. So we'll see if that happens.
Sweet. All right. So. Well, Rob, do you want to do another one real quick, or?
I'm trying to think of adaptations. I was thinking more of like obviously Transformers, the original cartoon. Then they did the Bay movies, which were terrible in my opinion, and I think most people's opinion. Bumblebee was okay, but the rest were not very good. But But then the IDW comic books, and I think even the Marvel comic books, they were hard to read, but a lot of people loved them. But the IDW comic books really,
IDWs were really good.
Yeah, launched a whole world, and it went for many, many years. And now Robert Kirkman's doing the new ones, and I think there's only been 2 or 3 issues came out, maybe 4, and the reboot of the world has been pretty amazing, and they're bringing people back in. It's much more like the cartoon mentality. It's not so dark. Well, it is very dark. I shouldn't say it's not dark, because Starscream is like the main villain, and he's just destroying everything. He just like bombs hospitals and murders people left, right, and center. But it's still in the sensibility of the cartoon, where people are like, all the Optimus Prime's doing like wrestling moves. He does clotheslines and like, and it's the art is accessible, where a lot of times Transformers art is not accessible. That's why I never got into the Marvel Transformers, because it didn't, for some reason, the art never really caught on to me. And even the IDW, I remember a few times me and Pat were like, which one's this guy? Who's this? Like, it was...
Yeah.
So it's clear. Everybody's brightly colored. You can tell who's who. Maybe also because they're only using certain people. The IDW one, there were so many different people introduced that it was just like, okay, you had to know all the little bits, ins and outs of everybody. But I think that was successful. Anyways, the TV show not into movies, but into cartoons and other cartoons and into comic books. There's been tons of like generations of Transformers cartoons that I've never watched, like Armada or... I can't remember what the other one is, the new one. But anyways, Rescue Bots. Like, I remember my nephew when he was a little kid would watch Rescue Bots. It's like little kid Transformers. Like, it's amazing that franchise has done so well, and it is not because of the original cartoon necessarily. It's been revitalized over and over, adapted, as they say. So there you go, Transformers.
Should we
more than meets the eye?
Should we mention the elephant in the room?
What's that?
The most hated adaptation, I would consider.
I already mentioned it. It's called Transformers.
No. The Robotech versus Macross adaptation.
Oh,
yeah, we could discuss that. So,
you know what I'm saying? Because as far as adaptations I'm concerned, is that never has one been more vehemently hated. I think you get some arguments, but then you get some people who are just crap on the whole Robotech side.
Yeah.
Like, I think we go through that. We like Robotech. That's introduced us to it. So we're pretty pro Robotech here.
I definitely, I do like Macross more than I like Robotech, but I do also recognize Robotech is like, I don't think we would have heard of Macross if not for Robotech.
I think
we probably wouldn't have heard of most anime.
But I feel like some people would argue that fact, even though they probably
no other anime was on like afternoons or Saturday mornings like that.
And I would say, like, to the point of how the adaptation went, like Macross to Robotech, a lot of the changes I would argue are kind of minor. Like there aren't a lot of huge ones.
It's the
once
subsequent
you leave that first.
Yeah, after the first
entrance.
third of Robotech, it's Macross diverges, and then Robotech takes the whole Southern Cross thing, and then into Mospeada, which Mospeada is awesome. I watched the original, and it's not very different. It's very similar, but it's they just cram some stuff in. That's
the craziness of it, of the hate, right? It's while it's an American adaptation, it's not wholly. It's not like a Michael Bay interpretation.
What the hell? I can't remember the name of the stupid Zords.
Robotech thing?
No, the other Japanese thing that came over, Sentai. What is it? What is it in the United States? Power Rangers. I couldn't think of Power Rangers. That was after my time.
Zords, yeah. I was like, Zoids or Zords?
I'm like,
Power Rangers. Do Power Rangers get the same hate? Because Power Rangers is, once again, like totally divergent from Sentai.
It's
a strange, yeah.
I think there's been a lot of like love actually between the kind of U.S. versions of the Power Rangers franchise and the Japanese ones. I think they've even had some crossovers.
I don't think I've seen, as far as a lot of American adaptations of a lot of Japanese cartoons, I don't see as much anger.
Is it because of Harmony Gold? I guess that's a question then, right?
It could be. It could be. I mean, but it seems to me it comes from the Macross side, not from the Robotech side.
I think it mostly comes from the Macross side, and I think I think it often boils down to what people read into what's canon, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what we're getting hung up on is like what is the right version of
obviously
the
Macross
story.
is canon. Like
Macross is canon of Macross.
But I understand that. But I think it is Harmony Gold has such a bad reputation for suing people and screwing over Battletech. They did so many things that I think that gives it a bad rep.
Yeah, I think that coupled with kind of everything is definitely an aspect where it's like that's kind of Behemoth is keeping the rest of Macross really from coming.
Well, that too.
Stateside.
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah.
Like just with it being a legal dispute.
Yeah.
Of who owns what, because one person said, well, I have the receipt from this transaction, and I got this one from them. So it's
stupid. Well, I think the problem is that they gave it to perpetuum or whatever they say, where it never ran out.
Perpetuity.
So it's like that was the mistake. They were like, it'll never last. This is a temporary thing. And meanwhile, they're like, oh no, we just locked ourselves out of North America forever.
Yeah.
Well, did they when they renegotiated? They didn't give them?
No, I think they finally, all the suing back and forth, they were able to get a little foot in the door, and I think we got some of the Macross stuff coming over, and
there's some things happening.
Yeah,
so I know we had the Macross 2 Kickstarter happen, and
I think a lot of it's starting to be a little loosened and realize what's the point? We're just hurting both brands. Why would you bother?
Yeah,
they'll both be successful. If you
we can both be making money.
Yeah, exactly.
What are we doing here? That's a great example, and not to ride the negative train, but Halo, the TV show, has also been the target of a lot of ire from the
Uber
fans of the games and the books and things like that.
Yeah, I remember that.
Because they changed some stuff. That's why.
They changed some stuff, and that's I'm only a couple episodes in, so I can't speak for the entire series so far. I do find it hilarious sometimes, like what people complain about on the show, as both in the sense of there are some dumb things that the show does, and it's fun to point that out, and then sometimes it's fun
to see
people reacting. Yeah. And so that's, for me, that's kind of where it's landing, where it's like I do try to come from that perspective of if you're adapting something from one media to the other, something is going to get lost in translation. So there is a good incentive to make changes that make it fit whatever the new medium is better.
Yeah.
And that's maybe a more tangible example is in game design. One thing we talked about is if you're making a mobile game and you put a controller on the screen, you're messing it up, because the touch interface is what you should be using for your interface. So as an example, that's where I kind of come from with adapting things. And so with Halo in particular, things are kind of falling into the camp of like, this change makes sense for making an adaptation to people that are unfamiliar. This change is harmless, but doesn't add much. And then this change just doesn't make any sense.
But a lot of it,
but like for one, I'll throw out there the character of Miranda is the daughter of Captain Keyes.
Mm-hmm.
That was in the original canon, but then they've made her the daughter of Halsey, the one that runs the Spartan program. I'm like, my brother sent me a message when I told him that, and he's like, I thought Halsey only stole children.
Well, that's kind of the point.
The big part of the Spartan program.
But I think that's why they put her in the show, to be, hey, this is her actual child. She doesn't care anything about, but she cares way more about the Spartans, who are her adopted children. Adopted.
Yeah. That could be. Like I said, I'm not all the way in, and it just hasn't been relevant up to that point. So I'm going, why did we make that change?
But even I watched through all the Halo movies, and Halsey's been shown so many different ways in those things. Like sometimes she's like a good person, sometimes she's horrible. Like it's pretty amazing, like the difference in the way she's portrayed. So,
and I think one thing too, I'll be curious about the show is they've really, I think, emphasized the fascistic side of the UNSC, the human organization.
Yeah. Wait till you get farther into it. I think it'll explain it a little bit more of that.
Okay, and I'm not saying that wasn't present in the original games, but it made it a fascinating dynamic to be that these are the good guys that you're fighting alongside and trying to help survive, but they're part of this major organization that for humanity it's kind of there's some questionable decisions that happen.
Well, it's always because they're pretty much representing the United States, because that's what the UNE or whatever they're called. But
UNSC,
yeah. But they even that though, like the bad people in the TV show are kind of limited to certain people, and obviously they know that they did bad by stealing those children to make the Spartans. But that was kind of Halsey's plan. It wasn't so much that was only certain people knew about that. It's not like all the government knew about that. It's more like a means to an end, right? Yeah, even then, they kept telling her, stop doing stuff. Yeah, stop doing these things. And she kept doing them anyways. But, yeah, I think it's not like it shows the Covenant as good people. They're horrible. Like, they're in the TV show, what they've done to Mackie and people like that, like, they're just bad. So, so it's not like sometimes they do that where they're like, oh, both sides are okay. And that's both sides are dicks. That's kind of what this turns into. Yeah. And then the flood will come, and then they'll be like, oh, crap.
Yeah. They have been doing a good job in just how outmatched humanity is. Oh, yeah. That was something that never, I think, quite came across in the games as well. The books do it pretty well, but just how
because in the game you're always playing Master Chief, who isn't unprepared. He's the one person who can do things. But
well, even your buddies, could take a couple of hits, whereas like in more of a live action setting, it's like
that right off the bat,
or bolt of plasma.
Yeah. Or they get hit with the shards, and the shards explode, and then I think it was in the first episode when they attacked the insurgent camp, the Covenant do, and I'm like, oh my god, that's what this show is going to be like. There's just people getting destroyed. I was like, oh, okay, this is what it's going to be like.
But yeah,
even the insurgents, you're like, okay, these guys they're just trying to fight for even then they show them not to be true what they are either. Like it's kind of it's very, I think it's kind of humanizes everybody, that everybody's got flaws, and there's you want the Spartans to be the big bad guys or the big good guys, but they're they're machines really.
So I'm sure I'll talk about it more at some point when I finish the season, because I'm sure I'll have thoughts on it.
Because I'm sure you haven't got to some major plot points that are I'd like to talk about, but
anyway, so that was almost a double team. But Rob, did you want to go next with another one?
I don't know if I have.
Rapid?
I'm trying to think. Obviously one of the great adaptations we saw was in Ready Player One, to see the Gundam in that, in Iron Giant and all the other things. But that really set off the idea that there should be a Gundam live action movie like that. The moment people saw that Gundam in Ready Player One, that they're like, oh, we're ready, we can do this, like we can have a real Gundam in a movie. And then obviously Pacific Rim happened, and I think that's preparing the way for all these, for a future.
You kind of have those events backwards, but yes.
Yeah, Pacific Rim was first.
Pacific Rim came first.
I think the Shin movies too are going to help, that are coming out of Japan.
The
Shin Godzilla and the Shin Ultraman.
Wow, that's Japan. Obviously, all this stuff has been pretty normalized there. Where North America, it's just coming into the acceptability. You get mechs into the Spider-Verse. You get Spider Mech and things like that. So, but as for adapting, I'm trying to think if there's another actual adaptation that I was trying to think of. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to hand it off to Pat?
Sure, Pat. You got any more?
Pat, do you have another one?
I mean, I don't have another one per se, other than exactly what I would like to see.
I have lots that I'd like to see.
I'd like to see a 4X Gundam game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there is no real It's
There's
all
no
like
4X.
Tabletop.
really fighting games. It's mostly just fighting games.
I would like to see a 4X where you have some.
That makes sense.
You know,
Trying to
where
take
you could
over
you could do
sides
the war,
yeah.
the
Mhm.
Fetties versus the Xeon, and you could do the war.
Yeah,
You
amazing.
play you make the different kind of Gundams. You got to get the resources to make the Gundams. Of course,
Build little squads.
yeah,
And you can
know,
destroy
and then-
sides or take them over.
yeah.
Drop them on
nice.
drop them on
then, of
Earth.
course, then you put the heroes in like
Yeah.
Cassilia and
Char.
Would it be-
Char and the
It
one
would
kid.
almost be
Who's
like
the kid that dies very quickly in the very beginning?
you'll have to be more specific.
On the
'cause
Zentradi side.
Slender and they
No,
were
no.
both like pants names.
It's
Char's
the guy.
buddies.
It's not. Yeah, it's the son of the head dude. That's
Zabaz, the
the Zabi kid, the youngest
Oh,
one.
Garma?
Garma. That's right. I always forget his name
Yeah, he's not around long.
because he was like Garma was the golden child, right? Until he got killed by Char.
Yeah, a little bit. He was the youngest, so he was
Yeah.
kind of
Everybody was like, "You're our friend." Yeah, I think a 4X game for that would be amazing. Like either video game or even tabletop, like game would be.
Tabletop would be nice, but I think a video game like an online multiplayer Steam game you could play.
Or almost like Civ, but with or a Galactic Civ, but with that theme.
Yeah.
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 There's some old like SD Gundam games that had an element of kind of like strategy moving about a board. But and I'm talking like NES era.
Yeah.
But there hasn't been
You
much.
could skin it with
new
anyone.
games
I mean,
like
you
that.
could technically skin a war for Cybertron or
Battletech or any of those, yeah. Battletech, once again, it's almost all first-person shooters. There was that
the
Commander back in the
Battletech.
day,
What
but-
is the Battletech game? The one that we played a
From
lot.
Hairbrained Schemes.
Yeah,
Battletech. That's
Battletech.
Battletech.
that's slightly 4X-ish, but
Not really. You're not doing resources and stuff.
But and you're not controlling areas. You're just mercenarying it.
Once again, it's just instead of a first-person shooter, it's a tactics game. That's the only difference.
Tactical, turn-based.
Yeah. So, but yeah, a lot of mech games are all either first-person shooters or tactical turn-based, or like Mech Commander had a little bit bigger scale, but even so, like there's nothing bigger scale that they should go even bigger. They're doing Succession Wars board game again, which is a 4X board game pretty much that they did back in the day. They're redoing
Succession Wars would be a great 4X game.
Yeah, they could easily make that into a video game, but so far Catalyst hasn't done anything with video games. They license. Well, actually, I don't think they're allowed to. I think Microsoft owns all the video game kind of stuff that they
maybe.
Because I remember back in the day it was split. Like that was the problem.
Yeah, because there was Fast Interactive, and then Microsoft got a hold of it.
Bought them, and then
when they put Crimson Skies out for Xbox.
Yeah, that's right.
Gotcha.
So it's so Microsoft owns like half the BattleTech, but so it's like really weird in the way that licensing happens. Because but is it your turn, Brian?
Yeah, I guess it comes back to me. So one that I kind of threw out there was speaking of Battletech, I thought an anime version of Battletech
or live action,
yeah.
Well, we did get the one cartoon back in the 80s.
That's what I mean. Is like
if
if that kind of came back. But I would be interested to see like a TV show around like Titanfall, or an anime around Titanfall, with the obviously the war setting is an exciting space to be in itself, but you do have a lot of fun dynamics between like the Titan, which often has like an AI personality attached to it, and then the pilot as well. So lends itself well to really fun dynamic and explorations. There's been a number of anime out there where you have kind of that AI robot mech and their pilots and how they kind of bond and interact. I thought that would be a really neat space to see evolve too, especially with the story in Titanfall 2, which included things like time travel and warped reality and stuff like that. So like, and
you can go
all sorts of really really crazy like mechs and mercenaries that are kind of at war with one another. There's a lot of personality in there, which I think an anime would really be able to amplify and
expand on.
capitalize on. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. Any others or?
Yeah, I definitely have another one. I wanted to mention because you never mentioned our sponsor. John Bear Ross, who has his My Mini Factory you can go to, but link will be in the show notes. He wrote a bunch of books called Junction World, and it starts off like a kind of your mech gladiatorial combat kind of thing, but then it kind of expands out into like a whole war that goes on and stuff. Like that would make it a great. I always said it should make a great like miniatures game. Like it would be amazing, but it's such a rich world like that he's built that for sure, because you could do like just gladiatorial combat, but you'd also do like the mass battle kind of big fights with overwhelming odds against terrible aliens. So I've always said that should be a game, and if he's not working on it right now, he should be. John, I know you're listening. Get to it.
Do it.
Do it, man. Do it.
Yep.
All right. Well,
you got all the models. You can just scale them down and make the pieces.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, he's gonna make all the models. Yeah, but it would be good. Another one I was thinking of. It was East of West. It was an amazing comic book.
Oh yeah.
So it's like an alternative world where it's like it's kind of Western, but it's in the future, and the natives have like super technology, and then all the West Coast is taken over by like a Chinese like Maoist kind of culture, and then there's still like the Southern Confederate kind of states and then Northern states, and it's in like a post-apocalyptic future, and the actual story takes place that the four horsemen of the apocalypse show up and start just going across the land, and they all have to kind of join together to stop them. But that would make an amazing mass battle game. I've always said that like it's every faction, there's specific factions like which you want in a game, and every faction has such unique aesthetics that it would be amazing looking like that's. But yeah, I don't know if it's big enough to like a franchise people know about, but it's such a good. Hey, make it into a movie first, and then make it into a game, so everybody would actually buy it. So
there you go. Pat, do you have any last ones before we wrap up?
Not really. I mean, the 4X I like to see. There's a lot, and some of the other adaptations I like to see are not really mecha related anyway. So
that's fair. I know the one I kind of mentioned near the top of the show. I thought. So I'm a big fan of Mantic's Dreadball, which is, speaking of a sports game, and in there you have some giant characters that you can bring onto your teams, and there's a lot of robot teams and stuff like that. But it kind of sparked in my head, like you see like in Alita Battle Angel, like they have the speedball race there where it's all just giant robot people and stuff, and that's where I kind of sparked him. Like it would be really neat to have like those kinds of sports themed, either like it as an anime or as a video game or a live action TV show. Now that we've proven that we could do that,
there's not enough of those kind of shows for sure. Like sports, like sci-fi sports shows. Like back in the day, there was rollerball and things like that, but. Yeah, there's not much about that kind of stuff other than like as side things like in Alita.
Yeah. Anime has a handful of them, but not, a lot of times it's kind of adapting things like Zoids where it's like, okay, we're in a tournament.
Yeah.
Whereas
gladiatorial's too easy. Like, I think it needs to be more sport, like you say, like because Dreadball is kind of like soccer and basketball and rugby, and it's all kind of mashed together.
Yeah.
So
but yeah, so something like that I thought would be kind of a neat thing, especially as we're getting closer to that cyberpunk future.
I don't know, maybe they should just do a live action real version of Dreadball, like it's like Highlight.
Ronnie,
but
you hearing that?
It's like
see about you got Andy Burtis doing your video work for you now, so get him on making
just a league,
a Dreadball.
It is Highlight with like full contact Highlight. That's what it is. which is dangerous because those balls go. I don't know how fast you can whip a ball with one of those.
And
curved
they're hard
things.
as concrete too.
Yeah, so imagine that, but you actually can smash people with orcs and things. So.
All right. Well, that was a really fun discussion.
I have one more just to mention that I'm amazed you didn't bring it up. Is what about 08th MS Team as a live action movie? Wouldn't that be amazing?
That would be really really neat. Some kind of Gundam Band of Brothers thing.
Yeah.
The one aspect of it, like with it being an adaptation, and I always kind of worry about this, is sometimes with the Western perspective, we take the wrong themes from war stories.
You gotta take it like a Vietnam story, not something to be that proud of.
It's got to be something that there's a lot of humanity at play and a lot of emphasis on like war isn't great even though we have these giant robots.
Yeah, that's right. There is that Gundam that's coming out that seems to be taking that. Yeah. It seems to have that kind of feel to it.
Yeah, with the perspective being from the villains.
Yeah.
The Zeon.
Well,
so
not according to Pat.
Yeah.
That's nothing. Gundam, there is no villains. They're all bad guys.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, we've gone on for quite a while. So if you have any adaptations that you've really enjoyed,
I'm sure we've missed some that were obvious.
Like, there's plenty. Yeah. I didn't even get to talk about Edge of Tomorrow, which is an awesome adaptation.
Yeah.
Feel free to share and comment in the show below. And with that, I think we'll head on over to the Jumpship.
Yes, sir.
ExFil. We're not going back to the beginning, Ryan. Please don't make us go back to the beginning.
Let's exfil out of here.
Oh, it's a Beatles sing-along. Yeah.
All you need is skill.
All together now.
Yeah. So with that, thank you guys for checking out the episode. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, click the bell, do the thing.
Tell your friends.
Yeah, put in the comments what adaptations you like, or if you think any of our adaptation ones are just plain stupid.
Yeah, we could be wrong. Like Rob said, the Halo TV show could be great.
And what side of the
Brian is crazy.
And what side of the street do you plant your flag in? The Macross side or the Robotech side?
I think it's always if you don't care about adaptations because you didn't have that much connection to the original. If you have a super hard connection to the original and then you see an adaptation, it can never live up to what you want, right? Like it's very
a lot of
rare.
times, yeah.
It's
But with that, I realized we didn't actually talk much about Adepticon.
So
you guys will just have to see us there.
Yeah, come to Adepticon.
Come to Adepticon.
We're going to talk with the Ignition Corps guys who.
We'll be at the Mantic booth, and Brian will be stuck at the events. So if you want to see any of us there, come by.
Come say hi.
If you want a big old Mecha combat game, my buddy Rick is going to be running Firefights Annihilation.
Armored Fury.
Armored Fury is the title of it. So go sign up for that now before it's too late. And should be a fun time. Come see us, say hi, and geek out about giant mechs.
And then we'll talk about it afterwards.
Yeah, next episode, I think it's going to be the Adepticon wrap up for sure.
Yeah. Maybe even recorded at Adepticon. Who knows?
And we'll talk about some mech calls we'll have.
Rob says no. All right. Well, with that, I've been Brian.
And I've been Chopper.
I'm Rob.
And have a good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.
See you next month if we survive Adepticon.
It's true. We might not come out alive.
This has been Mobile Armor Radio. Join our Facebook group by searching for Mobile Armor Radio. Find us on Twitter at @MArmorRadio. Join us on the first of every month for more mecha discussion.